Ed, me. We're pretty good there. We got the stream, we got the tree, we got a pillow. We're going to drop the tomato. We'll remove that. We're going to come over here to another slide. They're a little bit bigger there. Look a little bit more of that door. So that's good. So anyhow, welcome. Here we go. It is whatever it is. It is Thursday, June 16th, 2022. June 16th. God, it makes two and a quarter years doing this thing. 2.25 years. Pretty interesting. June 16th, 2022. What was on the schedule for today? Again, in career employment options, I had an award ceremony, a little bit of a thank you, a little bit update as to what's going on over with their efforts and how they're interacting. And this is a fantastic thing, which is why I've been a participant in many of their events. This is how I participate in the high schools. It's through Career Employment Options, Nick Villano, Joel Kronberg, and the rest of their team. But what they do, and it was really good to attend this thing today because I was really able to see both sides of it. Because they gave out some scholarships to students that really get it and they really are embracing and participating in the program and interacting with the businesses and starting careers and getting whatever assistance they need. And it just is a great thing. And it's a great thing to talk about these things in theory. This comes to the are you ready kind of a thing. But are you ready to really take action, to really do something, not just talk about it? And sometimes, man, I look in the mirror too. There's a lot of talk, but is the action really there? But this student did. This student really did take action. She had her own thing she was going through, found the support. That was the career employment options, the CEO side of it. Working with the school, the assistant superintendent was at the event today too. Big smile on her face. It's a great success story. But this student was ready to take action. And that really becomes the key to it. And it's the taking action, not just having the resources, but actually doing something, which she had mentioned there. She took responsibility because the resources were in front of it. And that really becomes the golden question here. Are we ready to really take responsibility for those things that we do, things that we say we want to do? She did. And these other companies, they're doing it. They're not just talking about doing it, they're doing it. Yes, they participate in the career days, right, which is great. But they're also taking these students in, they're bringing them to their places of work. They're hiring some, doing internships with others, doing training programs. They do the mock interviews. They're really showing these students what it's really like to work, how to prepare for work, how to prepare for the interview also, which is really important. And for them to find out, this is the beautiful part as far as I see it too, but to find out what they really have an interest in doing and whether or not they're really ready to take action in that whole thing. So are we ready? Are we really ready? Nick told the story too about he and his father. So Nick growing up, I gave you the real short version of it, but Nick's father was a masonry. He was a mason, and so Nick had the fantastic job of making sure those shovels were clean and ready for the next day. And I'm thinking that was a good story. Then I really came to realize, you know what? That story hit home a lot more than I thought because I'm not cleaning shovels, but I brought my camera with me, not the phone camera, the camera camera. Doug, good afternoon to you, but the camera camera. So was I ready to take photos? Yeah, that's right. I brought my little camera bag, got the camera, was going to try something a little different. I got this little tiny, Carrie, afternoon. I got this little tiny tripod. I got the camera bag here someplace. Oh, whatever it is. I got a little tiny tripod that I was going to use this way to put the camera on the table. This way, because I figured maybe if the light is not that good and need to adjust the shutter speed, but then that would have been an interesting thing to figure out because people are moving. So I kind of got that whole thing set. So what did I do? I wasn't ready. I didn't bring the card, the memory card that goes along with it. I didn't prepare. I didn't clean my shovel, in essence, prior to. I wasn't really ready. I wasn't really ready. So how do you get ready? We need to finish one thing and then move on to another. I guess that kind of throws us into this world of multitasking. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. One thing after another. Block a time for this, block a time for that. Maybe that's how the whole thing works and works better. But we still need to be ready for it. That young student to graduate high school ready and the rest of that stuff, but that student, that person, she was ready to take action. I was not. Are you? Are you really ready to do something? It's taking a look at different things besides this backdrop I've been talking about now for a while, besides the idea of having guests on, which I've been talking about for a while. There are a bunch of little things I've been talking about for a while. Could we redoing the business plan, really figuring out exactly where the efforts go. So I'm not really ready. Need to really hone in on that whole thing. So how much do you prepare? Where is that balance, of where is that balance of being able to, I'm going to use the word master, that's not really it, but gain the experience necessary before you go out and do something. That fake it till you make it comment. What do we do with that? And then other people have mentioned the imposter syndrome. What do we do with that? Because if we think we're an imposter all the time, we'll never do anything. Right? Oh no, yeah, I'm just not that good. I'm figuring, gosh, if people find me out, I'm just not going to do it. 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 And then what do? Nothing. You don't do it. So it gets us no place. To go to the other side of the extreme, hey, look, if I showed up and I brought that big tripod with me, and they could have used actually somebody there to take photos. They did, did it with the cameras and stuff like that, with the cell phones. Did that whole thing, and I'm sure the pictures came out fine. But I'm thinking, wow, would it have been nice if I was able to have the ability to take photos that were good enough, which is the goal, right? Is to take photos that are good enough, not to play professional photographer. I don't want to do that, but opportunistically be there to take these photos, to support the effort of some of these things. This was not my show today. I was there. I was there to show support. That's another way of doing it. You know, I speak at these career days, but I'm not the business that's hiring. I'm not offering the internships. I'm making the opening comments. Remember, I'm doing that microphone thing, that communication thing. That's my spot. That's my spot with the whole thing. So this is another way of communicating out. It's consistent. It's not perfect. And that's why I'm not going to claim to be, nor aim to be, the professional photographer. But, look, if I could have taken better photos to do that. But how foolish would that have been? Show up at the big tripod, the camera. Oh, yeah, I got this, and then click. And then for the thing to show, no card. Like, oh, you got to be ready. You got to be ready. This is where it really becomes clear, becomes absolutely clear as to what it is that you want to do, what it is that we're looking to accomplish. Look, even this, the speech I gave at the Miller Business Center, you know, imposter syndrome. No, I was pretty confident, in that respect. Even though it's been a while, it's been 3 years or so since I stood up in front of a live audience and gave a presentation like that. I did do a few other things with the high schools, actually. When speaking to the students. So I've done a couple of speeches, but they were 5 minutes in length, something like that. They were 5-10 minutes. So it was shorter, not like that one. So where did I begin? Was I ready for it? Yeah, I was ready for it without a doubt, but I started at the end. What was I looking to accomplish with it? That's it. You're gonna write a book. What's the ending chapter? Where does this thing come to a conclusion with? You're gonna write a business plan. What ultimately is it that you want to accomplish? Not maybe this, maybe that, maybe that. How are you gonna decide what to write? How are you gonna devise a plan to make that work if you are not sure of where you want to go? Right? I know there's one of those little tagline things in there too about sailboat. You go out with sailboat, but you don't have a rudder. Where are you going to wind up? Wherever the wind blows you. you wind up with no clear-cut goal, clear-cut end. You're just going to get pushed along all over the place. Then you wind up doing too many things and it becomes all muddled as to what you're really aiming to do and the rest of that stuff, and it does not become too good. All right, here we go. You know what I think I need is a bigger font size over there. I'm having a tough time reading these things. Maybe we need to move closer. Yeah, Carrie writes, unfortunately, I've done that more times than I'd like to admit. All right, yeah, so here I am. I'm admitting it for you. Oh, the no memory card? Oh, yeah. So you know, and I'm learning about shooting video with the thing. That was the whole idea with the tripod. So I'm curious to see, and I know, Carrie, the screw up I'm going to have with that one is that I'll be shooting a video and all of a sudden it's going to stop because I don't have enough memory on the card. I don't know how long they last. So I got to take a look actually to see the size of it. So Saturday, Carrie, if you're free, Oceanside High School, I'll put the video up, the poster up on that one. But I figured on experimenting over there. So yeah, no, without a doubt. So it's nice to have some company. And Doug mentions here too, for me, it's a confident level. Hey, I know this subject that they want to talk about, but I chicken out last minute. Nah, Doug, man, you're great. Look, you know, Doug and I and Glenn Campbell, we gave a presentation. And we could use this one as the example there, Doug. But we gave a presentation at Stony Brook University, and it was to the students. These are students that are becoming physical therapists and within the healthcare profession, that kind of thing. So the three of us went in there to give that presentation. But Doug, we knew, well, folks, we knew where we wanted to end with it. So the message there was, how do you deal with people coming in that have got a medical issue, that are looking for help? How do you deal with it? Doug, Glenn, both in wheelchairs, different reasons, that kind of thing. I was going in there, as somebody who shows up at the hospital every so often. How do you deal with us in real life? So, Doug, when we were talking about that, folks, when the three of us were talking about that, did we know exactly what we were going to say? No. We figured out the speaking order, that kind of thing. But it wasn't so much as how we were going to get there. We just knew we were going to get there. And that was another one of these audience participation things. Were the students going to ask a lot of questions or not? Don't know. We opened it up for it, but you don't know how talkative they're going to be, or just if they really prefer to listen and that kind of thing. So you don't know. But we knew the end goal there. And I think that's important. So now you're a good man there, buddy. You definitely got it in there, but look, we all have that imposter syndrome at some respects. I know when I got started doing the presentation at the Miller Center, I was like, I knew where I wanted to start, I knew where I wanted to end, and it was like I didn't get that groove going, until I was like 10 or 20, 10 minutes in, 10, 20 minutes into it, right? I did my opening comments, boom, all good. All good. A little go around room there in the beginning too, all good. And then I wanted to get into it before people started to think, before they lost their confidence with speaking, doing that whole thing. So I went. But as I was getting the paperwork together to go hand out, it was like, okay, how am I going to really do this? That was where it was. So you know what? That confidence level, that kind of drops down a little bit. They call it nervousness, call it some trepidation. That's a good thing. So embrace that. Look, you sit down to write a business plan, it's the same thing, right? Okay, so you're going to write out your mission statement. Probably have that in your head, right? And it's the why portion of it. Why am I doing what I'm doing? All right. Then there's the end goal. All right. Maybe that's a little harder to put together, but it can be done. And maybe there's a couple of different endings that, you just got to hammer it out a little bit. Perhaps it'll change a little bit as you write this thing, but you're pretty well set as to what it is. Because I think the why somewhat addresses that. Why do I start a business? Why are you starting a business? Well, because I want to make a lot of money. Okay, that could be a reason. Not necessarily the best reason, because you're going to find out that there's a hell of a lot of challenges that go along with it. So, you know what? You're not ready to start a business if that's your goal. Definitely not. Definitely not. There's so much more that goes into it. I want a business that is helpful to other people. Okay, now we're getting there. And why? Maybe you've been through some challenge along the way, but that's a part of it. But do you want a business that you're going to pass on to somebody else, right? Is it a transferable business? You know, if I'm going to start a business and call it Brian Business, and I plan on selling it, I can't call it Brian Business. I got to sell it to another Brian. This way they keep the name. Otherwise, the name changes. That's it. If I'm coaching, if I am coaching, that's a hard business to sell too. So that's not really it. So my why is maybe I want to coach, but I just want to do this for the rest of my life, and I don't plan on passing it along to somebody else. I don't care about selling the business. I just want to do it, and I'm having a good time doing it, and that's it. Whatever, however big it gets, but it's going to be just me. Well, if it's something you want to pass along to somebody else, I wouldn't call it Brian Business. I'd call it Coaching 101, podcast coaching, or whatever, whatever it is. But don't put your name in there. But now all of a sudden, your why might be the same, but the structure of it might be a little bit different. So I think your end goal can be done. Maybe you need to speak about it a little bit out there. But then you get the hard part. How do we get there? How do you get there? How do you get these things done? That becomes a little bit more difficult. So when I was giving that speech, I ran into that. How am I going to really do this thing? I had all these ideas in my mind in advance as to how to do it. Well, if there was 100 people there, it'd be one thing. If there was 20 people there, it would be another thing. If there was 3 people there, well, that would be a problem. Yeah, no, that would have been a little disappointing. There wasn't. It was the right amount of people. But at that point, that becomes it. That becomes the thing. So that, my friends, that's the little hurdle point in this whole thing. How do you really do it? We prepare, we get ourselves ready, but you need to be confident that you actually are ready. And you fix and clean up and structure as many things as you possibly can. This way you go into this thing confident. You got to have a clean show. Just like Nick mentioned in that thing. If you walk into your office, well, in that case, if you walk into your truck, whatever, that's got all of this equipment in there as a mason, and the first thing you need to do is to start cleaning everything and then get your day started. That's a lot of time, energy, and effort just to get started. You're not ready. You're definitely not ready. If you want to start a business without some sort of a structured plan in place, without having the knowledge you need, without having that end goal in mind, then you know what? You're not ready. Hey, I've started a bunch of projects, but hey, let's see where it goes. It doesn't go. It goes the way a sailboat goes without the rudder. Just kind of floats around all over the place. That's not really it. Do you have that end goal? Do you have that in mind as to where you want to take this thing? All right. But that hurdle is going to come up. Let's assume you've got a business. I'm going to start a business selling whatever, selling widgets. We haven't sold widgets since college. Used to be guns and butter. Now it's widgets. Selling widgets. I want to sell widgets. I got to start a business. I want to sell a business at the end of the day. When I retire, when I sell it for whatever, $1 million, need to generate X amount of dollars in sales in order to sell a company for $1 million. There's the widgets, beautiful, whatever. I did my vision board. I got pictures of widgets, whatever the heck a widget really looks like. We got all of that stuff in place. Why do I want to do this? Because I want to make sure that I have a great retirement. Money's available for it. I've always had interest in widgets, and that's a part of it too. So I have an emotional connection to it. We're good. Now, what becomes the actionable side of it? That's hard. And that's where the confidence comes in. It's not right in the mission statement, and it's not even right in the end goal. That's just factual. It's emotional in the beginning, factual in the end. But there's that confidence in the middle to get through that imposter syndrome, to get through the rest of that stuff. That's really where the key comes in. And that is really, I think, what slows many people down. It really is. If you get somebody that's prepared to give a speech someplace, I run into this quite a bit. I want to start a podcast, right? And there was a comment that made by somebody else. I want to start a podcast, and this is what I'd like to do. I want to share my information with people. This way, helps out with my SEO, and I get in front of more people, and all the rest of that kind of stuff. That's good. So now we have the mission. All right, I want to be able to share my wisdom with more and more people. And this was a conversation I had with somebody else, not me. I want to share my wisdom, share my knowledge with more and more people. Okay, how do you want to do that? I'm thinking about doing a podcast. Fantastic. All right. And no problem on the actual content. That's fine. And the why is good. The method of delivering it out, that's good. A little bit of questioning as to whether to do it on Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, or Instagram, or website, or wherever, YouTube, that kind of thing. Again, that's much more of a where's your audience, that kind of thing. That's factual. That's factual. All right. And then, depending upon budget, do it for free, grab a camera, do it from home, or do it from your office. There's a gentleman that was in an industry, and he'd contacted me. He's like, I'm thinking about doing this. Great, all good. And he was in the office. We went through the camera, we went through the lighting, went through the back area too. We had a couple of plaques that he was able to put back over there. Not too many, but a couple. And you couldn't see what it was even. You couldn't read it. You could see what it was. You couldn't read it, but it was there. We were all good. And it came to actually doing it. Well, no. Well, it's like, how much more can we do? Script it out. Okay, you need to script it out, whatever. But you gotta that was the point. That was the hurdle. That was the problem. So as much as the other things were in place, the readiness factor was not there. To understand what that is, we all have hurdles. Definitely have hurdles that we got to get through. First step, I'm not going to end on this one here. First step with those hurdles is one, figure out where it is. How do you do that? Do everything else that you possibly can. The mission statement, the end goal, finding the resources you need, speak to other people, join a mastermind group, speak to a business coach, a sales coach, whomever. You could spend money, hire somebody. You can't spend money, go to the SBDC, the Small Business Development Corporation, SCORE, and a whole multitude of other programs that are out there. Found that Shift Group was another group, and they're going to do additional ones too. I mean, all this stuff is free. It's available for you. Folks love to do it. Some of them are getting paid to do it. Some of them are not. Some of them get compensated through grant money. Others just volunteering. It's there. It's there. So if holding you back has to do with, I don't know, I can't afford to speak to somebody, that's not it. That's not it. You could work through that whole thing. All right. If holding you back is getting equipment, that's not really it either. I mean, we got a phone. Just use the video on your phone. All right. Yeah, you need a tripod. I mean, that's nothing. Really nothing. Somebody can hold the camera for you if need be. Backdrop. You don't need much of a backdrop. Go to an office. Borrow a friend's office. That kind of thing. Just work through, and get somebody that you could kind of spit these things out with. That could give you an idea on some of these things. Most of them are easy answers. Most of them are. That's probably an excuse, not a problem. Not the real crux of the problem. Figuring out what really is holding you back, that becomes it. What is the real issue? What is that hurdle? What is that speed bump? What is it? Where is that confidence level? Maybe true or not true? That's the issue over here. And I think, I don't mean I think, I know, based on my experience with speaking to people, to the Toastmasters and other places, that confidence level increases dramatically once you got that plan in place, once you have your own set of guidelines put together. Then all of a sudden you continue to move. And where does the next confidence level come in? Where does the next hurdle come in? It keeps getting, not the hurdle doesn't get bigger, but the hurdle continues to move down the road a little bit. And that's just what it is. Then eventually you got to go back to that mission statement and make sure your why is as strong as it possibly can be, because it's the why that's going to motivate you and give you the confidence to get through the hurdles, which will continue to push you further and further along that whole path to bring you to success. That's where that goes. All right, let me end today with what do we got? 26 minutes. I definitely got to make this thing a little bit bigger this way I could do. Yeah, we just wheel tripod. We just attach it to the front. There's been a couple of people have done different things with that. I guess there's answers to everything. We'll get you covered there. All right, here we go. What is coming up is the car show. So I'll be at this thing in Cary if you're available. Anybody's available, for that one. This is the Oceanside High School. Can even tie this back in with today. So the woman that gave a presentation today, there was a couple, but this one woman who's a business owner gave the presentation today. And what she spoke about was actually being a woman in business and project management specifically. And she grew up in the industry of building, but the industry or the portion of the building industry was from the dirt down. It was foundations, sewers, water, pipes, and all the rest of that stuff. The career and the business she actually has now is building houses from the ground up. Ground up. So, were the two transferable skills? Yeah, I mean, she had an understanding of the whole thing without a doubt. So there was definitely a transferability of skills. She was organized. But the other thing she mentioned too, if you're a mom and you're running the household, you have a lot of skills in there that are transferable skills. It may not show up on a resume, but it certainly is. If you're keeping that household running and keeping that household running smoothly and coordinating everything with people that need to fix things and stuff like that, you want to know something? Your project management. If you're the one taking care of the bills and the checking and all the rest of that kind of stuff, hey, you know what? You might be accounting. There's a lot of skills in there that are transferable. I won't tell you that she doesn't. She mentioned that women do a better job on being organized than men do. But hey, you want to know something? She might be right. Because sometimes, man, I am not ready. As I proved that today, not having that memory card with me. But I will make sure that my shovel is clean going to the Oceanside thing. Make sure the battery's charged. Make sure I got that memory card. Maybe even get a second memory card. This way I know what it is. I'll be passing by the camera shop that I normally go to. Maybe even get a second battery. Who knows? Maybe be over prepared. Maybe overconfident? Oh, I don't know. Because I still got to picture how to frame this thing and the rest of that stuff. So there'll be a learning curve that'll go along with it. I'm absolutely sure. But my end goal on that one is I want to be able to shoot video by myself with me interviewing somebody else instead of just holding the camera out. All right, Oceanside High School. What about transferable skills? These students built that car that you're looking at over there. It was not running last year. It is running this year. Wheels, engines, the whole thing. They want to show it off to the world, and they're going to do that. All right. The car show was supposed to be last week. It rained. They're doing it this week. It's Saturday from 10 to 2, Oceanside High School. Get down there if you possibly can. These students are really, really excited about what they've been able to accomplish. In years past, they built a boat. This past year, they built this car, and they built it from ground up. Ground up. Or dirt up, as the woman would say. It's a rat rod. It's completely put together the whole way through. They learn the welding. They learn electronics. They learn the engine. They learned everything. Everything. Fascinating. Fascinating. And they probably learned a whole bunch of different things I can't even think of because I've never built a car, but they did. And they've learned a whole bunch of transferable skills. And I want to be able to transfer that story on to other people. That's what I'm looking to do. If you can get down to Oceanside, by all means do. It's 10 to 2 at the Oceanside High School. You got the information right in front of you. When it comes to speaking well, there's a number of different ways to communicate well. The camera, video, or verbally. When you're out there, and speak well with yourself too, because that's really where the confidence comes in. So remember, speak well, speak often, and by all means, live inspired. People will be inspired by that. Just lead by example. Have a great day. Back again tomorrow on Tomato Talk.